Hey guys, Forristicat here, putting another review. This time, as you might guess from a picture over there, I'm doing a review of the Quantum Leap series. Now, it's interesting because when I wasn't aware of Quantum Leap, I had this idea in my head percolating for a television series, which someone would go from life to life solving different problems. Then, on an unrelated note, when I heard Have Hope and the Merc, other members of the forum, speak about a show called Quantum Leap, I thought that it was like a new, a recently done show. I wasn't aware that it was a show done in the 90s. So when I actually googled Quantum Leap to go to the Wikipedia page to find out exactly what it is, it actually said verbatim what my idea was for the television show. I'm like, okay, it's like someone just plucked this idea out of my head and wrote it. Now, I don't know if that's because, since I was born in 1985, if I actually watched a couple of episodes of Quantum Leap when I was growing up, and somehow they just lodged into the back of my subconscious, and I sort of somehow unconsciously pretended like I had the idea myself. But nevertheless, it was very interesting, something I always wanted to see brought to life, actually seeing that brought to life. So the first episode of Quantum Leap was a good episode. It sort of set the emotional tone. It was a pretty intense episode. Then from there things got sort of lighter and heavier, but more often than not, it definitely gave me a huge perception change on a lot of issues. And like Have Hope, who actually recommended it to me, it said it's a very deep show, and it does make you think about many things. And subjects and topics I normally wouldn't be interested in, I found myself being interested in purely because Sam Beckett was there with Al. A couple of my favorite episodes. I liked the Roberto episode. How has a guy that has many wives and he's juggling all these different relationships that he's involved with. I like the idea that they put forward with the trilogy of the curse of the family going back many generations, and Sam Beckett leaping two different perspectives within the storyline. That was very good. The most intense episode, in my opinion, was probably the Killing Time episode. That's where the person that actually was leapt into actually escapes out of the actual what do they call it, the Quantum Leap room, the blue room. That was pretty crazy. But yeah, there were many other intense episodes as well. Having the Evil Leaper was a good idea. I enjoyed the fact that basically the blueprint for stories is you have good forces and bad forces. So bringing that sort of into alignment, that okay, we've got these evil leapers sort of ruining sort of God's plan, if you will. That was also a very interesting perspective that they brought into the story. I liked how they touched on some serious, well-known people Marilyn Monroe, Lee Harvey Oswald, and Elvis. Although, understandably, they couldn't alter it too much for political reasons or ethical reasons or whatever. Although, I admit it, I do sometimes think, what happens if we could, travel in time to the day of the September 11th attacks, and then, we look at a newspaper and it says September 11th, and we think, wow, this is the day this is going to happen, and then it's a couple of hours before. I've had thoughts like this. I've had crazy thoughts the start of World War One, if you go and stop the gun that's started World War One from being fired, etc., etc. So time travel has always been sort of a very interesting topic to me, and Quantum Leap being centered around time travel and solving people's problems and helping people, which I think that we should do full stop. No matter who we are, no matter what part of the world that talkback members are from. It's definitely a way to live your life, and I think that sort of was a meta theme which was running throughout the show. My favorite episodes of Quantum Leap, the ones that actually stuck out, and that's the way I think you should judge a TV show. Is when you've watched all episodes of a series, you step back, and the things that you remember the most, those are sort of the standout things, because a TV series will have its crap episodes and good moments, but the ones that are sort of flashbulb burned into your memory, those are the ones that are actually the standout ones. So the ones that I actually remember more than other ones. The episode where Sam Beckett helps a deaf girl get into a dancing career, that one touched me quite a lot. That one is stuck in my head and my heart quite a bit, particularly because I actually have a deaf friend, so I could relate to that a little bit better. So it sort of made me think about his world and the prejudices against him a little bit more. So I thought that was fantastic. The episode where there's a kid with Down syndrome. There's many. I come into contact with many jokes, to do with retarded people, disabled people, etc., etc. It's sometimes I get caught up in that, and I just flies over my head. I don't say anything about it. I don't do anything about it. But seeing like those storylines really did sort of like slap me about and say, hey, this is the way this is. So especially since the idea of Jimmy, the disabled character in the episode, he wasn't stuffing up because he was disabled per se, but he was stuffing up because of the attitudes pushed and pressured towards him. That was fantastic. The episode with the native Indian wanting to be at peace, and Sam, like crying over him, like as he's dying, saying, why can't you leave him? Why couldn't you accept that he wanted to be at peace? That was also a fantastic episode. The episode where Sam actually becomes a chimpanzee. Now, I didn't really expect them to go that far. I mean, when Sam first jumped into like a woman, I'm like, okay, wow, they're really pushing this. But the episode that sort of stuck out, surprisingly so, was when he wanted to be like Miss whatever town that was. Like he was in a modeling competition. He had to overcome the problems in order to win the competition. And at the end, you see Sam there, and he's like crying, and I was emotionally affected by that. And I never thought I would be emotionally affected by that. And that's what, to me, made this series great as a whole. That there were so many episodes that I never thought I would actually care about. I actually started caring about that sort of thing, like mean modeling. I don't care about that. I don't care about like Miss America Universe or whatever. But as far as the storyline was concerned, I actually cared about it. So I thought that was amazing. Beginning back to the episode where Sam became a chimpanzee, and he's sort of like Sam's wearing like a nappy or whatever, and he's like running along with the chimpanzee like across a log. And there's a moment where the camera like zooms in like face to face with the chimpanzee and with Sam, and he says something to him like, I don't really like know what's going to happen to you. I don't really know what's going to happen to me, but I'm going to take care of you no matter what. Like that definitely, it hit me up. I'm like, wow, this is I think it was one of those moments like, yep, this is the reason why I'm watching this TV show, for moments like that, because I really wasn't expecting to be moved in such a way. Amazing. My favorite quotes from the TV show, probably the last episode, which I just watched today, was probably the most intriguing episode of all, and probably rightfully so, being the series finale. The quote that the bartender gave, like, sometimes that is just the way it is the best explanation. And sometimes, in life, you can't really explain everything. You want to label things. You want things to be one way, but they turn out another. You think, is a God doing this? Is a fate? Is a coincidence? But sometimes things are just the way they are. And that's not to say that we shouldn't act upon things and take right action to go towards our life goals. But at the same time, some things we can't change, and sometimes just accepting some things are just the way they are is definitely a positive attitude in some circumstances within life. But definitely my favorite quote out of all the Quantum Leap episodes, which I cannot remember which episode it's from, but basically I think Sam is explaining to someone that he's leaping in time, and he says to her, the character, something like, I kind of see myself as the champions of underdogs everywhere. And that's what I thought, yep, that's probably one of the lasting quotations that I'm going to remember for quite a while. And so it was, because all the characters that Sam jumped into, many of them were underdogs, and it's sort of I think, in my opinion, encoded in our psyche for us to want to cheer for the underdog, cheer for the person that is not capable of doing something, actually achieving something which is above their capabilities, or someone that's in a tough situation, overcoming obstacles to get a goal that they always dreamed about. So putting that underdog sort of buzzword in there, that's probably my favorite quote out of the entire series. Probably my favorite episode, probably one of two, probably my second favorite episode was the Christmas episode, purely because it sort of went in the very traditional sort of owl being sort of what do you call it, the spirit of Christmas past or whatever, sort of explaining to him that he's sort of living in a sort of bad way, he should donate more to charity, etc., etc. And then him realizing that he should donate more to charity. It sounds very superficial what I'm talking about now, but when you actually watch the episode, and then at the end you got the snow falling, and Sam is talking to to Al saying Merry Christmas, boom, he leaps out of there. I thought, wow, that's definitely going to be within my top episodes. And so it is, having watched the whole series. But probably my favourite episode of all time is... another good episode is when there's an episode where a girl gets too obsessed with a TV character, and Sam has to explain to her that he's just a doctor on television and that's not who he is in real life. And I think that's fantastic across all sorts of fandom, to sort of know that there's a gap between an actor and his personality, and although like a personality can affect the actor's acting, they are not who they are in the television show. And I think, at least for me, I sort of, if I were to meet Kiefer Sutherland, I would think that he would be awesome at kicking terrorist ass. But I when I think about, these are just actors, no one's cut from a different cloth. People are just doing their own thing in different circumstances, taking a different paths, and we're all human beings. And before we are whatever jobs we have, whatever skin color we are, before any of that stuff, we're all human beings, and that's the most important thing to remember, in my opinion. But the most, my favorite episode out of all of them was definitely the episode called Future Boy, where Sam leaps into a character where he's a space traveler, and he has all these audience of kids sort of learning and happy and sort of learning through the stories on television within the Quantum Leap show, how to behave, attitudes, how to grow up properly, etc., etc. And definitely that's where my favorite scene out of Quantum Leap came, where there's a child or whatever, and he's talking to Sam, and he's saying Future Boy, can you tell me about my dog who died recently? Where is he? Is he okay? And he's just waiting on the edge of his seat, this kid, for the response of Sam. And right then and there I thought, damn, that's where it's at. And what I'm talking about is storytelling, watching our TV shows, watching movies, all of this, that, and the other. I think that it has a purpose sort of greater than ourselves. And if you check out my profile on here on Talkback World, read my little about me to see where I'm coming from with this. But basically, I think that storytelling, no matter which medium it's done in, is a very important thing. I think it opens up people's perceptions to things, to doors which were closed before. It can pull people out of a rut. It can motivate people. It can make people happy where they were sad. It can make them make decisions in life which they otherwise wouldn't have made. And it can change the course of a life. And I think with all this darkness in fandom, with all this crap writing, crap directing, copying and pasting of bullshit, I think that I think it's horrible. And I think that we need to, everyone just needs to raise their game to push things like television shows like Quantum Leap out there. I mean, it definitely was a very mind-opening show for me. And when I watched the last episode, I was very sad. Thinking this is going to be the last episode I watch of Quantum Leap, and it was one of those things that I sort of extended Quantum Leap for as long as I could, because I knew that when I ended, it's okay, damn, that's another one of my favorite shows gone already. The ending of Quantum Leap, I think it was a very interesting episode overall, but the ending I think was a little bit forced. But the whole interaction with Al and his wife, and that was another one of my favorite scenes where he's sort of dancing with his wife, saying, I'm still out there, Beth, you have to remember I'm still out there. That was also one of my favorite scenes with the music in the background. But overall, the series was fantastic. So the writers, I can't remember, Italian man, I can't remember the names off the top of my head. I'm hopeless with remembering details of who directed, made, etc. But thank you to the writers of Quantum Leap for giving me a show to think about things in a different perspective. Thank you for taking up so much of my time watching the movies. Thank you for my cat. Thank you for everything, because it's television shows like Quantum Leap and books that we read, games that we play, that sort of change our perspective of things for the better. Make us treat each other in a better way. I think that's really where fandom has to go in, and we can't do that with sloppy writing, with the darkness that we're in now. We have to sort of rise above it, so to speak. And Quantum Leap, in the period that it was shown in the 90s, definitely was rising above it all, and is definitely within my top television shows of all time. So I wish I could leap out of here, but I can't, because I'm in reality. But definitely I can take the messages and meanings from Quantum Leap and carry that with me through life. And I think if anything can give you that, no matter what medium you actually get it from, I think that's a fantastic gift to give. Forristicat signing off here. If you haven't checked out Quantum Leap, watch this show. Peace.